Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Canal 308 on Canal Sat. Exactly. Thank you for joining us. Today is the 17th of June 2023, and it is another edition of your program, Voice It. It's a debate program, and today is specially dedicated to the man, the rock, the politician, the ace politician who passed away some time ago. We're talking about Fru Ndi. We shall be talking about him, his legacy, and his life in this program with some very prestigious guests that have joined me this Saturday afternoon. And I bet you're going to really have a nice time listening and even discovering several things concerning this very important figure of Cameroonian politics. Let's just get this little transition and then we shall be back. Welcome back once again. I told you that we are going to be having very important guests today, and this program is specially dedicated to the chairman of the Social Democratic Front Party, who passed away some time ago. News, of course, that hit the whole of Cameroon, and we know especially that he was not only a very influential political figure, but he was also somebody that touched several lives. We remember the incidents of the 1990s. It was a really a very shaky period in Cameroonian politics. We remember how people were rushing up and about because there was a kind of wind of change, in quotes, that was blowing across the country. But well, what was awaited was not gotten from several Cameroonians who believed and continued to believe that with the SDF, change could come. But well, he continued being that very charismatic political leader and father of his children, as I may say. This is going to also be reviewed and also confirmed by several people here. We're going to be having an SDF militant with us today. He's not only a militant, but he's somebody who is very involved in the party as the president of the Socialist Youth and equally a member of the NEC. We shall be having somebody representing the Cameroon Renaissance Movement and somebody from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement Party, the ruling party of Cameroon. Added to that, we are going to be having a fourth guest. Yes, that's exactly how it's going to be this afternoon, who is a political observer, somebody who watches these things that happen around and who has also his own say to give. Also, we shall be debating and certainly putting up some numbers here for you all to send your points of views or what you think about the debate going on. But first and foremost, after the announcement of the death of Pa in his Kolfulu residence here in Yaoundé, we got images all the way from Tarikun, the base actually of the Social Democratic Front in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. Larry Sabi, our reporter, is going to give us that report to explain exactly the situation of his residence just at the time this information was announced, a day just after.
This short and in mourning, Cameroonians have been reacting to the death of Fru Ndi, the leader and founder of the Social Democratic Front, the main opposition party in Cameroon. His demise has left a lot of pains in people's hearts as they decided to go to his residence in Tarikun to pay homage and share the pain with the family of the bereaved. Sympathizers, well-wishers, friends and family members came from all parts of the country to share and partake in this sad end. To some people, his demise isn't that bad, as Pa himself was tired and wanted to rest.
This thing with chairman don't make him away, he don't touch my heart. But we too won't thank God to say God, he don't receive him.
The chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Fru Ndi, founder of democracy, had not finished his mission, nor handed over his mantle.
For he don't work, he don't do work all. And when they insist, say he don't continue, he don't tire. I really now see, say, if he don't test his skin, he say he don't continue.
He became a hero to many in the 1990s for his bravery at taking on the one party that brutally dealt with those challenging its role.
He have not finished his work like the leader of the party handing over to the next generation. He was supposed to do that in July when we'll be having the the meeting, but he did not. Death took him unaware.
He died at his home in the capital city of Yaoundé, where he had to relocate because of the insecurity in Bamenda, a great sadness to him. But like he always says, I have lived a full life. I have done everything I wanted to do.
Thank you very much, Larissa B. Those images came all the way from Ntarikun, Bamenda, in the northwest region. His house, his residence, actually, where people still, up to now, are streaming in and out every day to pay their last homage to Pa, as they fondly called him in this area. Well, it gives us the opportunity right now for the introduction of our guests, those who have accepted to be with us on the panel this afternoon. Thank you so much, guys, for being around. I'm going to first and foremost start with the Social Democratic Front Party. I guess it's quite normal because we are talking about the SDF. Kungaba Lionel Fongo is the president of the Young Socialists. He's equally a member of the NEC. He has joined us today to tell us much more about Fru Ndi. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you to all our viewers. Thank you to my co-panelists with us over here. It's a very sad week for us Cameroonians, and especially for us members of the Social Democratic Front. We lost a hero, we lost our mentor, we lost our chairman, and it's very sad that today I'm on this panel talking about him in the past. But I think we also use this opportunity to celebrate the life of the man that impacted Cameroon through his actions, political actions, social actions, and even economical actions. We are celebrating a man that gave up his life for the well-being of Cameroonians for more than 30 years. We are celebrating a man that stood firm for social justice and democracy to prevail in our country. We are celebrating a man that has been fair play in politics and a man that has also been in love with his country, Cameroon. Thank you for having us here. I think we'll be able to discuss on certain issues and the circumstances that ended with the death of Pa.
You just laid the right background. Thank you very much, Mr. Kungaba Lionel, for that introduction of yours from the Social Democratic Front Party, and also a very active member who leads the youth in the party. Now, the second guest that we are going to introduce to you right now comes from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the ruling party of Cameroon. He is called Godfred Fool. He joined us equally this afternoon to commemorate, or let's say to come back to the life and legacy of the chairman of the Social Democratic Front Party, who is no more and who leaves behind not only his own militants to cry, but also other people who are fervent politicians. Good afternoon and thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Madam Flora. It's a great joy for me to be invited this evening on this platform in the name of my party, the CBDM. And we have to talk about Fru Ndi. That's somebody who have impacted the democratic life of this nation. And I think the day he passed away, even the little child who have never known about him wanted to talk about him. Because when you talk about politics in Cameroon, when you talk about democracy in Cameroon, you may not miss. And if you miss to talk about him, it simply means you know nothing about the evolution of the democracy in Cameroon, because he's one of those who impacted democracy. He was there in the beginning, and I may say the evolution of democracy in Cameroon is being there thanks to the president of SDS who have just left us. That's Fru Ndi. So today we regret, but you know, nobody is above nature. And I think where he left us, we are going to continue with the fight to see that in few days to come, we will have more promotion as far as democracy is concerned in Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Full, and thank you for joining us this afternoon and for accepting our invitation. Well, you rightly said it, the 1990s was a period that actually determined that was the opening for democracy in Cameroon, because we started talking about having other political parties that exist apart from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, which you belong to. And now we are talking equally of many other political parties. We've had elections in 2018, and we saw exactly what happened. We don't come back to the rest, the details, the nitty-gritties of the elections in the year 2018, but we know exactly that Fru Ndi claimed victory in some elections in Cameroon, like some people said. Well, whether he won or not, but all we know is that he was just a fair play Democrat. From all indication, that is what is said. Now we are going to take another guest who joined us today. We're talking about the CRM, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, represented here by Mba Raoul, who just joined us also this afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Mba.
Good afternoon to you, Madam Flora. Good afternoon to the millions and the viewers watching this prestigious program. It's an honor to be invited for this program. I think my first time.
Hopefully, we are going to be having the Cameroon Renaissance Movement from now henceforth, giving its point of view on all the political matters that we certainly might be talking about in the days ahead.
We hope so, and like our party is always open, insofar as our point, maybe the editorial policy will permit us to chip in our point, not taking into consideration like hindering someone from passing his information.
Your national president actually gave a word of condolence. He came up with a word of condolence in the name of the entire party. What was the reaction that you had when you heard of the demise of John Fru Ndi?
Actually, it's sad. I think that within even those in the concept of modern politics today, history will record John Fru Ndi as someone that paved the way for freedom and democracy. And it will only be a bad politician or someone that has bad faith to come on air and say maybe John Fru Ndi did not, or the SDF did not do something historic in changing the political narrative of our country. Like someone that has got into politics, I must acknowledge the fact that me being a member of the CRM, I'm from a home where my grandfather was the third deputy mayor in Batibo under SDF, and I have often visited John Fru Ndi even at his residence in Tarinkon. With his charisma, it's true that I love his way of doing politics, but sometimes politics also has to do on ideology. And for me, joining the CRM does not mean that I never sympathize for this SDF. I remember in Bamenda during 1997 election, there was a campaign at the stadium. So sometimes we were running behind the convoy. That is something that I've never maybe tell the world about. As kids, we were running, and at a certain point, there was something that Pa did. There was a child, a hawker, that carried a pan of granite, but because of the situation, jubilation, that granite fell down. Pa said they should stop the car. He removed money from his pocket and called that child. So I felt something for this man, but like someone that has equally gone to school, I also believe also in the ideological parts, because I know that maybe the fact that I did not join the SDF, but I sympathize for the party, and with the situation is really, I can say I feel sorry for the family as well to Cameroonians, and we must acknowledge the fact that Pa did a very great role in aspect to our freedom, in aspect to democracy, but I believe that he has done it. Let's not come back to look at the failure, but let's look at how we can continue from where, because the actual truth is that he has paved the way to change the situation, but he has helped. So from where he stopped, even the militants in his party, they should continue. We should try, we should keep on doing our best. At the end, if we can free Cameroonians from this system, at least even history will record that CRM came and took from where the SDF left. So that is part of politics and in the field of fair play.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Raoul from the Cameroon Renaissance Movement of Maurice Kamto. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Well, politics is fair play, and of course, it's about differences in ideologies. It's not because your father or your mother was from the SDF that you are going to end up being an SDF militant, well, or a CPDF militant. It's just by the kind of ideas that you have and the way you look at life. That takes us to the introduction of the fourth panelist, the fourth guest, who is a political observer, I would say so, and who has something to say to us equally today concerning Pa, because nobody was quite indifferent on the announcement of his demise. He is called Mr. Hilary Mbuwel. Thank you, Hilary, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad to be one of the panelists and to be one of the pioneer panelists, I must say so. The first day you hosted this program, Voice It, I was one of the pioneer panelists, and I'm delighted to be here again today. I'm talking from the perspective of a political observer. We must understand that every human being is a political animal, as philosophers put it. And there is a proverb in French, I can't really remember the proverb, but if I'm to paraphrase, it's like if you don't go to politics, the politics will come to you, something of that sort. So I have a keen interest in politics, to say the least. As a student, I was one of the best students of history. Before becoming a teacher, and now a school administrator. So I've taught history, especially the political aspect of history.
Yes.
African history, Cameroon history, and I must say that Pa's demise is a big blow to Cameroon and to even to Cameroon, generally speaking, because he was an icon of democracy. He launched his SDF in 1990 in Bamenda at the time when nobody could take the bull by the horn. At the time when dictatorship, totalitarianism, autocratic rule, was the order of the day. So nobody could even venture to launch, nobody could muster courage to launch a political party. But despite all the odds, the battalions of military men that were sent to Bamenda, he was not frightened in any way. He took the bull by the horn and went ahead and launched the party, despite the confrontational jamboree with the military men that resulted in the death of some people. But I think that was the price Pa had to pay for us to enjoy I can call it the bits and pieces of democracy we have in Cameroon today. So Cameroonians owe him a lot of, in terms of tribute. Cameroonians owe him a lot in terms of paying him homage. And one thing most noticing about Patriot is the fact that he refused to shed blood. He had the opportunity to shed blood to become the leader, but he said he sacrificed his position and said no, he will not allow people to be killed. He will not allow a kind of chaotic situation where we'll be killing one another simply because of power. I'm talking, if we look at the situation in the two Sudans, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Presently in Sudan, we have two generals because of their power-mongering nature. The whole country is in jeopardy. People are being killed like rats. And the same scenario in South Sudan, the newest country in the world. The president and the vice, Riek Machar, whatever. So you find a world, a society whereby people are ready to be in power at all cost. So one thing that really calls for admiration in power is the fact that he was ready to let go. 1992, well, officially, we can say he didn't win officially, but even when I was growing up as a child in the primary school, the whole, from the north to the south, east to the west, every Cameroonian till today, they say that Nijon won in 1992, and he had the opportunity to use force because the whole country was behind him. But he said, no, I don't want to see blood shed. I don't want to spill blood in order to be in power. I think that calls for admiration. Peace. Though some people from another school of thought heavily criticize him, I'm talking of those who believe in the paradox that freedom is not free. Yeah, well, it's a complex phenomenon. Some said he should have taken the bull by the horn, whatever the price, and then others are praising him for letting go.
Thank you very much, Hilary. And there must always be a price to pay. That's what politics is all about. There's always somebody that will have to sacrifice for the others to enjoy the fruits of what comes in the future. And that brings us, we dive immediately into past legacy. We start talking about his life and what he is leaving behind. And the next question I'll be asking is directed to SDF, to Mr. Lionel, who is from the SDF. Now, before Pa died, actually, it was announced at the last NEC meeting that he was not going to be standing in again as chairman in the days ahead. Some people, well, some observers and some critics, I don't know, some decided to say that maybe he felt that he was going to pass away anytime soon. It was a way for him to hand over the command, the baton of command to the next generation, which is certainly a very good thing, because I realize that most SDF scribes today are quite young people like you.
Thank you, Flora.
The convention is supposed to take place anytime soon.
Thank you, Flora. I think that was not the first time the chairman was announcing. Maybe through a NEC resolution, it was done during last NEC. But a ceremony was officially organized on the 11th of February 2011 with journalists. Don't ask me why it was on the 11th of February, because it was youth day. And this ceremony was meant for Pa to announce to the journalists that he will not be standing for any elective post, either in the party or out of the party in Cameroon again, and that he will be taking his political retirement during the next convention. Our convention had to hold in February 2023, but due to some delays and some recalcitrants in the party who were not actively reorganizing the party structures on the field, we could not do that in February. That's why it was scheduled for July 2023. While waiting for the NEC of the next weekend, next Saturday, to confirm or to postpone the NEC that is coming up with the situation we have at hand. The date still stands because only the National Executive Committee NEC has the power to change, postpone, or even cancel the convention. That being said, I think it's not because the chairman thought he had to pass away or something else, but if somebody since 2011, and if you are seeing some of the disorders that are going on in the parties, because he announced 2 years before the convention that he will not be candidate again. Announcing in 2011 was to enable the young.
In your opinion, is that exactly what sparked up the disorganization that is witnessed within the party at this moment?
Of course, because when
people who are too ambitious,
he took some people unaware, and these people were not prepared, and for them, they knew that if democratically they went in for elections during the convention, they would have been they will have been trashed trashed. So, and also they realized that they lost their popularity in their various bases, because we left from a group in parliament to less than 14 parliamentarians, and today we have 5 parliamentarians. You can imagine how people are becoming unpopular in their various constituencies because of they are not able to accept that transition should go on, generational transition should go on.
Yeah.
But it pains to know that a party that has been fighting to gain power for 33 years, some of those who joined the party at their early 30s are still there today fighting, and they don't want to leave or give space to the younger ones that just came up with power, energy, and the same vigor that they had in the 1990s. You know, when you join a party in the 1990s at 30, in 2023 you are 63. You cannot have that same power that you had in the 1990 in 2023. So you need to rejuvenate, you need to renew the energy, you need to transfer the knowledge and the energy, the spiritual energy that you have and that you were fighting for, to the generation that is present. Some people ask themselves, why did the chairman say he is not standing again on the 11th of February? We told the chairman at a certain moment, we as young people, socialist youth in the Social Democratic Front, that Mr. Chairman, we respect the fight that you did, we respect all what you've done in this party, but you have to know with your own generation that the generation of the 90s and the generation of the 2000s are very different.
Yes.
In the 90s, you didn't have social media, for instance. For you to express some issues, you had to go down to the street to express it for you to be heard.
Now opinions
But
can be
for
expressed even through the social media.
For now, with this generation, some of us can use the new communication tools that are put in place to express what we have. And when we do this expression, some of us are heard, some are not heard, depending on the methods that are being used. Today, some of those who fought in the 90s are not up to date with new technologies. So most often they think that we still have to be doing the same thing that we were doing in the 90s.
Does that call for a sort of synergy between both generations?
The synergy to occur is that the generation should accept that there should be a transition after the synergy. Because if today some of them have been in parliament, in councils and everywhere, it's because these younger generations were supporting them on the field, were carrying out activities that brought them to that level. For instance, my constituency is Yaoundé. I stood here as a parliamentary candidate when I was 23 years old. I could decide to go back to my village and stand with the old person or the older person that was there.
Yes.
Go in for primaries, and I know that if I went in for primaries in one of my villages in the northwest, I will win him because the strategies that we have.
Yes.
And those are some of the sacrifices that we did, not to challenge some of these people, but at a certain moment they should know that they have to give up, they have to give chances for the younger generation to take the space. If not, the party will be the one to feel the consequences. As we are saying, when you look at the disorder, before these people were dismissed, or before we acknowledge their auto dismissal from the party, things were already going out of hand. You saw them on media. Any person who was on media saying anything,
they think they're already autonomous. They don't accept that they have been dismissed.
And they thought, no, you know, a party like the Social Democratic Front that has a name, a logo, a text that all have been certified at OAP. How do they call it in English? That is legalized. Yeah, that has been registered at OAP. Some of them are prisoners. Those who are using those names and everything, some of them are prisoners, and it's just because of the cohabitation that we've had with most of them. Because most of them are like brothers and sisters to us, because we've been together for more than 30 years, 33 years. So it's difficult for us to see how we are dragging them to court. They are doing it to us, but we don't want to return it back to them. We shall certainly
give a conclusion to that part.
And we think that is one of the virtues that the chairman Fru Ndi taught us. We learned a lot from this patriarch, from this beacon that is going, from this icon that is going, which one of the things that I keep from him is political tolerance.
Yes.
So we have been tolerant a lot and with these people, and we are sure that now we have to take the bull by the horn for the party to preserve the legacy that is left to us by His Excellency John Fru Ndi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lionel Fongo of the SDF party for that analysis. Well, what I pick out of it, and that is going to take me to ask the next question to our representative of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement right now, is this generational conflict, Mr. Full Godfrey. What do you think about it within the SDF party? I don't want you to make a sort of comparative study with your party and the SDF, but I think there is a problem with politics today. There is a problem with certainly transition from the older generation to the new generation. Who are those going to govern the country? Who are those liable, or who are those even capable of holding the country the way it's supposed to be held, according to you? And what, in your opinion, explains the split that is going on within the SDF party?
Thank you, Madam Flora, for asking that question. And I think I was so delighted to understand when my brother was talking about the generation. You know, it is true and obvious that changes are supposed to be, and in any group, the group is supposed to regenerate. But the regeneration of a group is a process. It should not be a brutal issue. And now, you know, when I was preparing this our debate, I took some statistics, and after those statistics, you can understand something. 1992, for the legislative election, SDF boycott. 1997, they have 43 parliamentarians. 2002, 22. 2007, 16. 2013, 18. And 2013, 18. And 2018, 5. Now, you know, now you understand that as from, if we had a generation as from 2000, that's a new generation, as from 2000, 2002, they, in the normal sense, the results were supposed to be to increase, that the curve was supposed to be going up, not going down. And gradually, sometimes we may think that the generation, the new generation that came in, did not cooperate enough with the old generation, because for we think that it's a transitional issue, and you that's the new person, you should learn to the oldest one, if only in this party, because we know that that's a legacy, that's something John Fru Ndi is leaving behind. That's a party that he is leaving behind to Cameroonians, and that have made the name. But now when you look, when he was well known, because it was like he was all around the place representing the party. But as time is going, we know that new blood was supposed to be injected in the party. But when you look at their results, you see the curve going down, which simply means those who are coming in are not cooperating enough with those who were there. And we start asking a question, because in any party that is supposed to live, they should be always those people that they said old generation that will bring up the new generation. And I think that's what is happening in my party. You said we should not compare, but I think is what is happening in my party. Because
in your party, are you actually preparing the younger generation to take over from the older generation?
I was not there.
Okay.
I was not there. Maybe many people are seeing me today,
okay,
but they don't know that it has been a long process
okay,
for me to sit somewhere today and say I'm representing the CBTF, because I have been trained, I've been formed to be where I'm today. Okay. So and that is what may lack in what the SDF that his president John Fru Ndi is leaving to us today. And I think I'm not dashing into the new question, which is SDF today SDF yesterday, FTF today, and SDF tomorrow. Because when we talk about SDF today and we look at the results up to 2018, and even the senatorial election that is just passed, from we are just from doing, we understand that the new generation that came in with the new mechanism of communication, the new way of reinforcing the party, they did less, but conflict of in French we conflict de positionnement. I want to be, yes. And I think that in a party we should respect the hierarchy. I
think that's about people who are very egocentric, who think only about their personal
interest. That's the issue. That is why you see that when I analyze the results, just from the if you want to go to the presidential election, you will see that at 2018 the party end up with 3.5, 3.35 this thing percentage, which means that people that's if they have to do something. They have to do something because those who have been there, they have to hold the hands of those who desire to come in, so that they can mold and bring back the SDF that we usually known. Because even in the interior country, now there are other parties who are coming up, thanks to SDF, but most of the time when you want to talk about an opposition in Cameroon, they see but the SDF. But just that, I don't know if those who are inside the party are really seeing what is happening, because seeing those results decreasing, they may ask the question, as a symbolical party, who was there when the democracy started in Cameroon? Because nobody will ignore the fact. I think as from the CBTM, the first thing I learned when they started training me in politics, they told me, you have to be ready for competition. That is why, so whensoever I have an opportunity, I'm just like calling people to come and join me, to come and join the trend so that we can move together. That's, for me, every day is like a campaign, because I know I have beside me other parties who are coming up very strongly. If
this is coming from a CPD, a militant, then I think I can take it as as the truth.
Yes. So
every day is campaign.
Yes. So every day is campaign, and for that reason, when I see a party that is supposed to go in for a competition, because Cameroon now have become a competitive field, and when you look at, you just look from 1990, where we had this democracy issue in. How many elections have been organized in Cameroon? Presidential election, 5 elections. That have, it means it's a field where if you work hard, I think you will arrive where you can be. So what I can call for the SCF is just not for the people who are already there now to be selfish. Let them help the young generation that is coming up and hold their hands as in other party, because I will not lie to you, I'm from CBTM, but we love competition. We love competition.
Let's have the point of view of the Cameroon Renaissance movement right now, represented by Mr. Raoul Mba. Certainly, I don't want to say or maybe come back to what is going on within your own party when it comes to generational conflicts, because they exist almost everywhere. What is your appraisal actually of what is going on within the SDF party at the moment?
First of all, Madam Flora, mindful of the fact that within our political party there is a text. It stated clear that in respect to internal affairs of other opposition political party, we distance ourselves from it.
Yes.
And it's but normal, because what is going on is just based, I can analyze because I'm also from the opposition. So it's normal, because I think that it is not about, first of all, the issue of blaming the SDF militants. We first need to understand the concept that the terrain at which we are operating it's a very difficult terrain. And if you are not in that field, you cannot understand, because sometimes political analysts, historians, they just look from distance and they get the image at which they read on, either on newspaper, which I can first of all say, when you look at the way, permit me to get into the field of journalism, when you look at the way journalism is being, people go about their activity in Cameroon, we say it is sensational journalism, and it is being promoted by the system in place. Take, for example, you can look at the Cameroon Tribune. It will be difficult for the Cameroon Tribune to give an appraiser on a project that the SDF carry out in either in one area.
Is it because it's state-owned?
No, that is why I don't know. Obviously. Yes, but come and see where the Cameroon Tribune will only come to talk about conflicts that is happening between Honorable OC and Honorable. That is, it spits fire, it instigates. And maybe those at that field, they will not even think that sometimes we are into this particular milieu, this particular political landscape to restore, or we are representing the aspiration of the people. And when you see the state institution playing a role, instead to come and be mindful of the fact that we, no matter our political differences, we should preach national unity, even come at the position to even act as an intermediary to see how we can solve some of this conflict that is, you will never get the state. Because if you think that we are fighting for national unity, we are fighting to see how we can restore maybe development of the people, and then these people that they decide to form political party to assist you, because I think that multi-partyism came because the state believed that it could not manage the affair of the nation alone. It decided now to give a way for other political parties to stand, yes, to open and say, all right, for us to build this nation, I cannot build it alone. Now, the SDF is on board, the CIM is on board. What can I do to invite? Even meetings that SDF will call, CRM will call, the state doesn't even give the authorization for this meeting to go on. And how do you so people start understanding that to strive for leadership, it's about position, but whereas leadership is about services, not even position. But the system in Cameroon is putting Cameroonians to understand that what matters is that position, to either be the head of that party. And that is why you see we now that we start fighting ourselves to maybe to reach at that position. You get it? So I believe that we really need to, it's high time some of us understand the system at which our state is putting us in, because we continue fighting at the end, because the state, when I'm talking about the state, the CPDM policy is that they believe in divide and rule. When they see us maybe knocking our head, they say no, that is the best time. And sometimes they go behind, sponsoring some of these militants behind the background that they should go and be fighting. And just take, for example, when some, for example, like a common man on the ground starts seeing what is going on between the opposition leader, they lost sometimes the confidence for them. They say, no, I don't think that this is this political party that thinks that we can. But they should equally be conscious to understand that these are all mechanisms put by the state to crack down opposition. That is why for me to come and be condemning the SDF, saying that no, they cannot manage their affair, I think that I will not fall in that trap. Because I know that the institution at which we find ourselves it's fond of that, and it takes that courage, even no matter what, even to lose its integrity, to make sure that it cracks down opposition political party, so that we should keep on fighting and why it remain in power. But I am happy because I know people like Kukaba is my friend. We cannot fall in that trap, and it's also a reminder to some of these top members also of the SDF, equally to my own political party, to say that right. We have, any political party must have an internal problem. It is not within our capacity that each time we have an internal problem, you rush to the media, you take this on your Facebook page, you start publishing information that, well, that is a problem. Like Mr. Kukaba was talking about a transition, a generational transition. It's good, but I think that some of these issues need to, like, they have ordinary sessions, they have extraordinary meetings that they hold. So some of these things can be deliberated there, and we as communicants, it's also important for us to manage our information, what we send out to the public, because sometimes when they get the way we sometimes quarreling, dispute over, sometimes
it does not speak well of the party.
It doesn't speak well. So I think that that's something that we really need to manage.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barawul. Well, before we get to we get a transition to get to the second part of this program, we shall have the point of view of Hilary Mbuwel, of course, who is a political observer, about this generational transition thing, because it's an issue that actually was brought up by Mr. Kugaba, and sounded quite interesting to me, because I realized that in most of these political units today, most of these political frontline parties, even the opposition, it's a problem that is existing seriously.
Absolutely.
Whether we should not be calling all of the names right now. We have the SDF here, we have the CRM, we have the PCRN, which also has its own issues. In each and every one of these parties, we find generational problems. People who do not want to accept that the younger people can equally have a chance. So what do you think about that? What do you think is really the cause of this?
I would want to first of all share your views that it is actually a problem affecting nearly all the political parties in Cameroon, especially the main political parties. I'm talking of the CPDM, the SDF, and the MRC. As for the SDF, I would like to say that there is significant progress. Yeah, but before I come to that, when you look at the CPDM, the same people, the same old people are there, the same old people. You look at SDF, similar situation, though not as visible as is in the CPDM. Recently, the MRC had an internal kind of conflict, which emanated from the fact that somebody challenged the chairman of the party by questioning his age, saying that he was too old to lead, if I'm not mistaken, and that has been making news headline all this while, and it is not very good for the integrity of the party. There is a possibility, from the analysis of my co-panelist, that the regime in question could be sponsoring people with a divide and rule. But then I would not like to point out
that is just a supposed it's not founded
without any empirical evidence. Anyway,
I think on that, just to clear the air, I think on that,
without cutting you guys short, let me just announce to our televiewers that the numbers that you can see visible below your screen are meant for messages.
I think
when you see the MTN number, it's meant for WhatsApp messages. If you want to say whatever you think about our ideas being shared here, just write to us through WhatsApp on the 680714200, and then the orange number is a 699619293. On the orange number, you can just send SMS. You can send just normal messages. So none of these numbers should be used for calls, please.
Okay, with due respect, madam, and I believe that with the permission, maybe
because we are talking about John Fru Ndi's legacy, but when you bring about the issues of taking, I think that is another topic. But because you have brought that, and I wish maybe I expected that madam could have at least said that that's another topic. But I think that with that, let me just take also the opportunity to clear the air on that. If he came out with an issue of challenge, there is no problem with that. You get it. We acknowledge it, and if you think that this thing is not right, bring it to the national directorate, and they will not call for a directorate. They say, okay, this is the situation. You did not table your problem, but you took it to the social media to table your problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when they are correcting you, that please, it's like you have to calm down, table your problem rightly. You can have a good information, but if you position your information wrongly, then rest assured that they maybe
will only perceive.
You will only perceive, because you cannot be a member of a national director and you go and you are challenging something that you have never brought it to the national directorate, but you still done on Facebook. And you propose, does that make sense? And my brother,
Hillary was actually saying something before.
And that is why I think that on that there was no problem. I think when they
forget what I had to
yes,
say.
now I'll remind you, when we got that, and then now they held a meeting, convoke him and said, okay, this is not right, even in the image of the party. We are calling for a meeting. For now, you walk out and the meeting they are going to deliberate. No,
SDF now.
no, I'm saying that with that is because he brought it.
Yeah, but
What I'm saying is that
I've heard that.
even at the moment,
Let's talk about the leadership of the chairman, please.
I just want to
let me focus on what I.
the problem is that it wasn't your vocal point.
You have cleared the air. Anyway, let me just. I was just.
He is a political analyst.
Yeah,
He does not belong to any political party here.
I was not saying that is only in the MRC or blaming the chairman, but probably going to the social media. I'm not here to judge. The point I'm trying to make is that in most political parties, those things are visible. Yeah, you find the young who want to take. I don't want to say whether they are right or not. Yeah.
Not to tell again, you are a lawyer and you don't follow principles.
Go to the SDF. Why was I saying that there is significant progress in the SDF? In the last presidential election, a youth was their presidential candidate, and the first vice chairman of the SDF is Joshua Osi.
What is the criteria of a youth?
Anyway, I just had doing a comparative analysis.
Are you challenging the fact that he's a youth?
Political parties?
No, I'm just asking that what is the criteria?
Anyway, that's not to say that, but that notwithstanding, we did the same SDF. There has been a lot of internal conflict,
and there still exists.
Even presently, I think that can be put under one of the demerits of nature.
I guess with Mr. Kungaba Lionel, we shall come back to those issues that are actually existing at the SDF for this next transition. Just after this next transition, I'm sorry for cutting you short. Certainly, you're going to have the time to air out what you have in your mind, and I'll remind you, just like Mr. Mba said, about what you had to say. Let's have a little transition. We breathe in and out a little bit. We shall be back. We're back in this studio, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. It's the second part of Voice It, and certainly the second part that is taking us almost to the end of the program. And this second part, of course, is certainly going to be very heated. I actually had to interrupt Mr. Hillary Mbuwel, who was saying something quite interesting right there. But we remind you that you can be able to send us your points of views or your ideas, what you think about the program or what you think about the topic being discussed through these numbers. You can send only messages. The first number is meant for normal regular messages. The second number is meant for WhatsApp. So if at all you're at home and you're trying to, do not try to call any of these numbers because we are talking. It's not possible for us to pick the calls while we are also chatting here on set. So Mr. Hillary.
Yes, I was trying to say that the problem we have today, not just the SDF, but it is visible in other political parties, is that most of the youth are not interested in politics. Then the few who venture into politics, they just come in and they want to overtake. They are not humble enough to learn from the others.
They're overzealous.
Yes. Then the others on their part cling to power and they want to be in power for long. Yeah. Coming back to the SDF, Nijon recently announced his retirement from politics. Yeah, before he unfortunately gave up the ghost. But then, even before that, he was under a lot of criticism. He had clashes with ST Mona, clashes with many other people just because they wanted to challenge his position as chairman. So yeah, we see the same people who are complaining that Pobi has been in power for long. When you go to the political parties, you find almost the same figure from generation to generation. But I want to hope that since our focus here is the SDF, with a significant progress, so even the person seated here is a youth representing the party. I'm happy that MRC is also represented.
And he rightly said he represented himself at about 23 years of age.
Yes, 23 years of age. So he was pretty young at that time. So I think there is significant progress in terms of the youth, the younger generation venturing into politics, and then the inclusion not just of the younger generation but of women. Yeah, I think I've seen.
Thank you for mentioning women.
Yeah, with a lot of
because it's been very difficult for me to have women on set.
Yeah, yes. So I think
they are so scared of talking about politics.
General of the SD, one of the most powerful top figures of the SD, Elizabeth something.
Tamanjong.
Yeah, Tamanjong. One of the most influential figures in.
And we had Edith Kabawala who also left and created her own party.
Yeah, so you find women who have almost everybody included. I think that calls for admiration. That notwithstanding, it is often said that you don't wash your dirty linen in public. That's where I agree with my brother that the person who raised the issue in the MRC, for instance, didn't have to go to the social media and be discussing things that needed to be discussed in the house. Yeah, so that was not fair at all. That was immature. When you come to when you come back to the SDF, you see that not just even the MRC, you see things that are not really visible in the CPDM. I've never seen anybody standing up to challenge Bia as a possible tabling his candidacy, that he wants to be the presidential candidate in the next.
Someone did and it was happening.
Yeah. So
someone did and
so you know, but we have seen a lot of people. So that is democracy.
Mr. Fool is going to have to clarify that for us.
Yes. I think you will shed light on that. But to the best of my knowledge, the cases like that are pretty rare, even if they are visible in the CPDM.
Exactly.
In the opposition party, the MRC, we have seen a lot of people who come up to challenge. I think that's democracy. No, the SDF. I'm talking about the SDF in particular.
Since we're talking about the SDF, let's allow Mr. Kungaba to say something.
There is something the ruling party said that I would like to comment on. He talked about.
We have just a couple of minutes to go.
Working hard, the elections. The problem in Cameroon is that the elections have been there, but are they free and fair? That is the question. Are the elections free and fair? If the elections are free and fair, I don't think that we will have the same person in power for too long. Then we even need to set up a constitution that will limit the mandate of the person in power, so that we don't have the same. I come up with my idea. If I rule well, you give me another mandate.
Constitutions have been reviewed. It's no longer a secret. So
it should be done in such a way that it is an institution. Somebody will not have the powers to just come and tamper with it. We talk of institutions, not individuals. Like in the United States, in Nigeria, there is no way you can be president for more than 2 mandates, even if you are the best president in the history of that country.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Thank you very much.
In Cameroon, I think
let's give space for the SDF to talk.
It's going to improve.
Let's not forget that today we are focusing mainly on the SDF, on the Social Democratic Front Party, and extensively talking about the party today because of the fact that the national chairman passed away some time ago, and we are coming back to the state of the party, trying to maybe x-ray some of the things that are going on in the party and even some of the problems that certainly, hopefully with time, could be solved. Certainly you're making efforts towards that.
I think I told you that the party is trying to renew the personnel, renew the energy, and even rethink the ideology.
Yes.
And this always comes with pain. There's no delivery without labor. And the labor that we are going through now is that some people are not accepting to allow their position, the privileged positions that they had for the good of the party. And I want to say that some of these problems we know, and we acknowledge the fact that the problems exist, and we are handling these problems. You can see those were bringing disorder in the party. We just came up with the text and realized that they were doing anti-party activities, and we realized that they took Article 8.2 and they're out of the party. You mentioned some few figures that were in the party, and you said they challenged the chairman. I want to make it very clear that this convention that was coming was the 10th convention of the Social Democratic Front since the creation. When we say the 10th convention in 33 years, it means at least every 3 years we hold a convention. And when we hold a convention, either an ordinary convention or extraordinary convention, there is election. So the chairman did not force himself to be at the helm of the SDF. As someone who carried the ideology of the Social Democratic Front and incarnated that spirit of change, wanted to reach the objective that was fixed in 1990 and was launched on the 26th of May that same year, he was given that courage, he was given that mandate by the people, by delegates coming from Cameroon, because the convention of the Social Democratic Front is made up of not less than 2,400 delegates that comes from all over Cameroon and abroad. When I say 2,400 delegates, these are the people, and there is no convention where the chairman stood as the only candidate at the helm of the SDF. When he decided and said, I want to see things change, maybe it's because I'm the only one going for election every year, let's try another presidential candidate and see.
Yes,
many people came up. We had 5 different candidates, and that's when we elected another candidate. But you have to know as well, I want to tell my friend from the CPDM here that you were challenging our result of 2018. You have to know that each and every political party has its own base, and our base is Northwest and Southwest. You cannot deny that for us. The base of UNDP is not. You cannot deny that. The base of CPDM, we know it. You cannot deny that. That makes the fact that because our electorate, our people who usually elect us, they did not. If you take the result that we have in the other 9 regions for other presidential elections and you add it to the 3% that we have, or you take our result of the 2 regions in other presidential result and add to the 3% that we have, you will see that we have approximately the same result that we had in other presidential elections. And those are the calculations people will not see, they will not understand. They will just think that things are decreasing. It's but clear that people that were at 30, at 63, they should not have that same energy to have 40 parliamentary seats again. Because they don't have that force to go around Furawa and everything. And the crisis came and blocked everything. During election 2020 in the Northwest, all our mandate people who were mandated to deposit SDF list at Elekam were kidnapped, not 500 meters away from Elekam offices. I'm telling you, and they were kidnapped and destroyed their documents, and they were released after the deadline was over. And you realize after that, in all those councils, you had CPDM list present there. Those are strategies that they use. And I want to tell people that it's but clear that a political party that is willing to get to power must have these challenges, and some of these challenges should be in-house fighting, and this in-house fighting is because they foresee the future of the party. Do you think people will be fighting to be at the helm of the Social Democratic Front without knowing or without foreseeing the future of the party? My dear co-panelists, dear viewers, I participated in the reorganization process of our basic structures in 3 regions, and I know what it has become. For those who watch SDF on the 20th of May, for those who watch our activities for the 26th of May, you can agree with me that this SDF, we've not seen it for 10 years. What we saw this last years after this reorganization.
So you can then say there's an evolution.
I can say that the evolution is significantly high compared to 10 years away from
I wish SDF well. Anyway, that's all I can say. Let's get the point of view, because we don't have much time to be in this studio anymore. Let's get the point of view of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, because I saw him really taking down some serious notes right there. I remember equally that I saw a message coming in. Like I told you, nobody should call. If you see these numbers, just send SMSs or just WhatsApp for the first number. In fact, SMS for the first number you see, and then WhatsApp for the second, which is MTN. So if you want to write to us, just do that immediately. While waiting to maybe read your messages before the conclusion of this program, let's have the point of view of the CPDM, and then globally we shall certainly meet each other to say the last word before we close.
Yes, just what I wanted to answer to others who said nobody have ever stood to challenge his SLAC President Paul Biya, and some of you cite Saint-Éloi Bidon. Let me tell you, you have to know the ideology of CBTM. We gather, we make people to be together. We don't send away people. But it does not mean that CBTM is a place where when you are there, you can do everything in any house. There must be a discipline. Yeah, but so. To my brother here, I think I'm very happy to hear that something is being done to see, to rewarm the SDF. As I earlier said, we love competition, no matter what you people will say. And I think a party that wants to win the competition will should not be like trying to put his eggs, maybe as we always said, in one basket by saying this is where I belong to. I think a good party should be implanted in all the nation. There is no region where they said CBTM or SDF should not be there, or CRM should not be there. But for each and every party, there's a headquarter, right? There's a base. There's a base. Yes, the headquarter does not mean that. No, the headquarter does not mean that. Every political unit in the world has a base.
Mr. Lopez, you know that UNDP base is North. You know that UDC base is Fumban. You know that SDF base is Anglophone, Northwest and Southwest.
You people may tell me that, but I know that CBTM base is Cameroon.
CBTM base is
CBTM base is Cameroon. Yes, because when I speaking here, I'm not from where you may cite, but I know that the CBTM base is from Cameroon. I'm just happy to know that maybe we are discussing here to talk about how we can see the SDF continue being as it has been before. So by what he just told us here, I understand that they are doing a lot of effort to rewarm the party so that tomorrow, for the next coming election, they will be able to come into challenges.
If you don't continue to kidnap our representatives.
Talking about kidnappings, we know that the late chairman was kidnapped twice in his life, something which was not really good for his health situation at that moment. Well, it's rather unfortunate that he's no more. We are talking about that now in the past.
When we are talking about kidnapping and all the rest, I don't know, maybe, you know, as from today up to today, we are still chasing to know exactly what is happening. Yes. Because those who are kidnapping have never shown up their faces. But if it is that maybe the SDF people may know, I think you have the right at least to denounce. Because when you are talking about where you belong to, and you
of SDF and they don't do with CPDM, it means there's a problem.
Okay, maybe gentlemen, we are just a couple of minutes away to the end of this program. A last word, Mr. Mba from the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. We have come basically to the end of this program. It's true, we began late.
Thank you, Madam, once more.
I believe that as to the SDF, I think that we are already a group of a political party because we are under the group of the opposition. And I believe that any initiative that the opposition thinks that we can come together to see how we can overcome this present situation of a country where we keep on complaining on a daily basis is welcome. If there is, I first of all acknowledge the fact that SDF, we came together for the revision of the electoral code. It's important, and if any other initiative comes, it is also important that we should put our head together. We should not look at an instance to say that no, the chairman is not there with any initiative that comes because it's a member of the MRC, we disagree.
Yes.
We are ready, and we must make sure that we work together, and we are not going to fall in any trap of the CPDM of that policy of divide and rule. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ba, and thank you for coming to the program today. Hope to have you again some other time on invitation.
All right, madam.
Okay, let's read this message rapidly before we get the last word from Hilary Mbuwel and equally from Mr. Lionel Fongo, of course, who represents the SDF party today. Hello in the studio. I think the SDF has done a lot in Cameroon politics. I think one of us should finish the list than to keep condemning the SDF. I don't know what the person meant at the end, the last phrase, but well, what I retain from there is that instead of condemning the SDF, we should try to see what we do for the future. Thank you for that message, and thank you for reacting.
Yeah, actually, we're just trying to do a kind of balanced, objective kind of analysis. But yeah, so that we don't become too biased.
Yes.
Well, I must say that in terms of successes, the multi-party system of government that we enjoy in Cameroon today, Cameroonians owe their homage to the SDF. And to be more precise, Fru Ndi, who launched it. Yeah, even those of the CPDM, everybody, including the president, the democracy, I will call it the bits and pieces of democracy we enjoy in Cameroon today. The SDF will be remembered as the architect of the multi-party system of government in Cameroon. They had their challenges. Yeah, they talking about the chairman.
It even affects some of us who are practicing this profession. Freedom of speech equally was made possible because of the SDF party.
So the SDF
it's an exploit.
Maybe if you want to take time here, talk about the achievements of the SDF, you may give me another 30 minutes. I don't want to talk so much.
We are not going to go
But
above
then, what I would like to say is that John, before his demise, he had lots of challenges apart from the internal conflict we're talking about, including some members that he dismissed that earned him a very bad name. Yeah, well, let's say the party.
I don't think the chairman was acting on its own. He acts in the name of the party.
That didn't earn the party. Let's say didn't earn the party a good name. I don't know. They are better placed to clarify us. Apart from that, I think the SDF found itself in a dilemma, extremely difficult situation, especially with the crisis. You have separatists who will be putting pressure on them to quit the National Assembly. In fact, withdraw and join them in their ideology. So they found themselves in that very difficult situation, and coupled with the fact that the separatist areas are the strongholds of the SDF. So the kidnappings and then the constant pressure from the separatists to force the SDF out of the Cameroonian. So that has been a challenge, and then John found himself in that situation whereby he was really in a dilemma.
He has passed away, but he leaves a big...
He has actually left a legacy.
He leaves a big legacy,
and I think that his demise has created a vacuum within the political spectrum.
A great vacuum indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Hilary Mbuwel, for your very brilliant acknowledgement right there, and also your analysis. The last word, of course, is going to be said by the representative of the SDF, because exactly you are the reason why we are here today.
We want to thank all well-wishers, all Cameroonians, citizens of the world, for their condolences message that we have been receiving. We will certainly come back the days ahead to give you a program which will enable us to celebrate our hero, celebrate our icon, celebrate His Excellency Fru Ndi, and I think after the next of Saturday we will have that program.
Can I have a sneak peek of what may be the topics to be discussed within the NEC?
The main topic to be discussed during the NEC is the demise of the national chairman, and also current issues concerning the parties.
Okay, like reorganizing the party and all that.
Reorganization of the party is ongoing. It's true that now a pause have been met because we have to respect the memory of our departed chairman. But during this next, we will have to reorganize work and reschedule all those reorganization or election dates that were not respected because of this. Because I ought to be presently in Garwa to conduct the regional bureau election today, but because of this, I am around here in Yaoundé talking on TV.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kungaba Lionel Fongo. And once again, we extend our heartfelt condolences to you and your party for the demise of your national chairman, and equally to the entire family watching us, certainly from all over Cameroon and even from above Cameroon. Thank you all, gentlemen, for accepting our invitation. Today we had the SDF, we had also Godfred Fu from the CPDM, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, as a communicant talking and giving his own point of view. We had Mba Raoul of the CRM party, and of course we had Hilary Mbuwel as a political observer. That takes us to the end of this other edition of Voice It. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure being with you this weekend once again. We are going to give you a rendezvous for next weekend, and please don't go away, because the programs that continue on LTM TV are going to be quite interesting. Certainly, let's just watch out to a rebroadcast, because it might happen. Have a nice day.